pretty rich girl pretends to walk with a limp to find true love. Amara stood in front of the mirror in her small room staring at her reflection. Her smooth caramel skin seemed to glow even without the sunlight, and her big brown eyes sparkled like tiny stars. Her thick curly hair framed her face perfectly, and her smile was warm and bright. People always told her she looked like a queen, but Amara didn't feel like one. "Why do they only care about how I look?" she muttered, her voice soft and sad. "Nobody even asks if I'm happy." Amara was tired. Everywhere she went in Amako, people stared at her. Men would follow her around, trying to impress her with fancy clothes or big promises. Even women in the market whispered about her beauty, as if that was the only thing that mattered. One hot afternoon, Amara went to the busy market to buy fresh tomatoes. The air smelled of fried puff-puff and spices, and traders shouted over each other, trying to sell their goods. As she waited for her change, she overheard two women sitting under a mango tree chatting loudly. "Have you heard about Nneka?" the first woman asked. She was fanning herself with a piece of cardboard. "What about her?" the second woman replied, peeling groundnuts. "She got married last week." "Eh? Nneka with that limp. Who would marry her?" The first woman smiled. "You won't believe it. Her husband loves her so much. He says her heart is more beautiful than her face. Can you imagine? True love, my sister." Amara froze. A husband who loved her heart more than her face? It sounded like a dream. She turned to the trader. "Keep the change," she mumbled and hurried home, her thoughts spinning. Sitting on her wooden bed, she held her chin in her hands and thought deeply. If Nneka could find someone who loves her for who she is, she whispered to herself, "Maybe I need to stop being me." She looked around her small room, her eyes resting on an old scarf hanging on the door. A bold idea popped into her head. "What if I had my beauty?" she said aloud. "What if I become someone else? Someone plain? Maybe then I'll find someone who loves me for me, and not because I'm beautiful." She picked up the scarf and tied it around her head, covering her hair. Then, she found an old oversized dress in her wardrobe and put it on. Standing in front of the mirror again, she tried to limp like she had seen someone with an injured leg do. She giggled at first but then grew serious. "This could work," she said. "Nobody will know I'm Amara, the beautiful girl from Amako. I will be, Chioma, just an ordinary girl." Amara's heart raced with excitement and a little fear. She didn't know if this plan would work, but she was determined to try. For the first time in a long while, she felt hopeful. Amara stood at the edge of the dusty road leading into Eziama, clutching a small bag that held all her belongings. The sun was high in the sky, and sweat trickled down her forehead, but she didn't mind. Today was the start of her new life. She looked down at her reflection in a puddle by the roadside. Her head was wrapped in an old scarf, hiding her thick curly hair. The oversized dress she wore hung loosely on her slim frame, and her feet were tucked into worn-out slippers. Slowly, she adjusted her posture and added a slight limp to her step. "Now, I'm Chioma," she whispered to herself, "just an ordinary girl trying to make a living." Isiama was a small lively village with narrow streets lined with thatched huts and a bustling market square. Children chased each other, laughing, while women carried baskets of fruit on their heads, chatting loudly. Amara felt a bit nervous as she limped into the village. Would anyone recognize her? As she walked toward the market, she stopped by a small fruit store run by a cheerful woman who wore a bright orange wrapper. The woman was serving bowls of steaming jollof rice to a queue of hungry customers. "Good afternoon, ma," Amara greeted, her voice low and shy. The woman looked up and smiled. "Good afternoon, my dear. Are you new here?" "Yes, ma. I just arrived today. I'm looking for work," Amara said, clutching her bag tightly. The woman wiped her hands on a cloth and pointed to an empty bench near the stall. "Sit down first. My name is Mama Nem. What's your name?" "Chioma," Amara replied quickly, her heart racing. "Chioma, eh? You seem like a nice girl," Mama Nena said, eyeing her carefully. "Do you know how to cook or clean?" "Yes, ma. I can do both very well," Amara said, nodding eagerly. Mama Nena smiled. "Good. You can help me here at the store. I'll pay you at the end of each week." and you can stay in the small room behind my house. But let me warn you, this work is not for lazy people. I'm not lazy, ma. Thank you so much, Amara said, feeling a wave of relief. As the day went on, Amara worked hard at the store, serving food, washing plates, and sweeping the area. Some customers were friendly, thanking her for the food, but others barely looked at her, their eyes quickly moving past her scarf and Limp. Why does she walk like that? A young boy whispered loudly to his friend as they passed by. Maybe she had an accident, the other boy replied, shrugging. Amara heard them but pretended not to notice. Instead, she focused on her work, determined to blend in. That evening, after the market quieted down, Mama Nana handed her a plate of rice and fish. You worked hard today, Chioma. Eat and rest. Tomorrow will be another long day. Thank you, ma, Amara said, her heart warming at the kindness. As she ate in the small room behind Mama Nana's house, Amara thought about the day. Nobody had recognized her as the beautiful Amara from Amaku. Here in Eziama, she was just Chioma, an ordinary girl with a limp. Lying on the tin mattress that night, she stared at the wooden ceiling above her and smiled for the first time in a long while. This is my chance, she whispered to herself. If I'm going to find true love, it will happen here. The morning sun in Eziama was soft and golden, spreading warmth across the village. Amara and Chioma stood by Mama Nana's food store, serving plates of jollof rice and fried plantains to customers. She had gotten used to her new routine, but she kept her scarf tightly tied and her limp steady. Chioma, hurry with that plate, Mama Nana called out, her voice full of energy, as she flipped a pan of sizzling fish. I'm coming, ma, Amara replied, carefully balancing the hot plate and placing it in front of a customer. As she wiped her hands on her apron, she noticed a young man walking toward the store. He had a sturdy build, a kind smile, and wore a simple brown shirt and trousers rolled up at the ankles. His hands were callous, evidence of a farmer's life. Good morning, Mama Nana, the man greeted, his voice cheerful. Obinna, you are late today. Mama Nana teased, handing him a bowl of steaming rice. I had to fix my hole this morning, Obinna said, grinning. But you know I can't start my day without your cooking. Mama Nana laughed and waved him off. Ah, you flatter me too much. Sit down and eat. Obinna turned his attention to Amara, who was busy wiping the counter. And who's this new face? He asked, his curious eyes studying her. This is Chioma, Mama Nana said, nodding toward her. She's my new helper. A hard worker. At one. Good morning, Amara said softly, avoiding his gaze. Good morning, Chioma, Obinna replied, smiling warmly. Welcome to Eziama. Amara nodded, keeping her head low. She wasn't used to someone looking at her with such genuine kindness. As Obinna ate his food, he chatted with Mama Nana about the weather, his farm, and the price of yams in the market. Amara couldn't help but listen to his voice. It was steady and calm, like the flow of a gentle river. When he finished eating, he stood up and stretched. Thank you, Mama Nana. Your food is always the best. Of course it is, Mama Nana said, laughing. Now, don't forget to pay. Obinna chuckled and placed some money on the counter. Damn, turning to Amara, he said, Chioma, it was nice to meet you. I hope you enjoy our little village. Thank you, Amara said, her voice barely above a whisper. As he walked away, Mama Nana nudged Amara playfully. Hey, Chioma, don't be so shy. Obinna is one of the kindest young men in this village. And he's single too, she added with a wink. Amara's cheeks grew warm, and she quickly busied herself with cleaning. I'm not looking for anything, oh, ma, she said quietly. Mama Nana laughed. We'll see about that. The rest of the day passed, but Amara couldn't stop thinking about Obinna. There was something different about him. He didn't look at her with pity like the others did, nor did he treat her like she was invisible. Instead, he saw her, Chioma, the simple girl with a limp. That evening, as she lay on her mattress staring at the ceiling, she thought about his kind smile and gentle words. For the first time since coming to Eziama, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this is the start of something real, she whispered to herself, a smile playing on her lips. The days in Eziama rode by like a calm river. Amara stayed pretending to be Chioma, worked hard at Mama Nana's food store. The villagers were growing used to seeing her limp around, and those who still whispered about her, she paid them no mind. But one person seemed to notice her more than anyone else. Open. One afternoon the sun was blazing hot and Amara was struggling to carry a sack of yarns Mama Nema had bought from a trader. She heaved and pushed, but the bag barely moved. Do you need help? Amara turned to see Obinna standing there. His sleeves rolled up and his hands ready to lift the sack. Oh no, I can manage, she said quickly, trying to shift the weight again. Chioma, don't be stubborn, Obinna said chocolate. You hurt yourself. Let me. Before she could argue, he lifted the sack with ease, balancing it on his shoulder. Where do you want it? He asked. Over there, she said, pointing to a corner of the stall. As he set the sack down, Amara couldn't help but admire his strength and the way he smiled so easily. Thank you, she said quietly. It's nothing, Obinna replied, wiping his hands on his trousers. You're always working so hard. You deserve a little help now and then. The next day, Obinna came by the stall again, not to eat but to see her. I brought you something, he said, smiling. Amara looked at the bag suspiciously. What is it? Just open it, he said, his grin widening. She opened the bag to find freshly picked vegetables, tomatoes, okra, and some leafy greens. I thought you might like to grow your own little garden, he explained. You seem like someone who enjoys taking care of things. Amara's heart warmed. That's very kind of you, she said, unable to hide her smile. Thank you, Obinna. Do you know how to plant them? He asked. Not really, she admitted, looking a little embarrassed. Then I will teach you, he said confidently. Later that evening, Obinna came to the small patch of land behind Mama Nena's house. Together, they dug holes, planted the seeds, and watered them. You have to be gentle, Obinna said, showing her how to press the soil around the tomato plants. Plants grow best when you treat them with care. Amara watched him as he worked, his hands moving with such patience and skill. You must really love farming, she said. I do, Obinna replied. It's hard work, but it's honest, and it teaches you to appreciate the little things, like watching a seed grow into something that can feed people. Amara nodded, feeling a deep respect for him. I think that's beautiful, she said softly. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Obinna stood and dusted off his hands. There, he said, smiling at their work. In a few weeks, you will have fresh vegetables. Don't worry, I'll check on them with you. Thank you, Obinna, Amara said, her voice full of gratitude. He looked at her and shrugged. What a friend. That night, as Amara sat by the little garden, she felt a strange happiness she hadn't known in a long time. Obinna's kindness wasn't like the flattery she had grown used to back in Amako. It was genuine, and it made her feel seen, not for her beauty, but for her heart. Maybe, just maybe, I found a friend, she whispered to herself, smiling at the rows of freshly planted seeds. The village of Eziama was quiet that evening, with the stars twinkling brightly in the night sky. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and the air smelled of freshly cut grass. Amara, still disguised as Chioma, sat outside Mama Nena's house on a wooden stool, staring at the little vegetable garden she and Obinna had planted. The plants were growing well, their tiny green leaves peeking out from the soil. She was lost in thought when she heard a familiar voice behind her. Chioma, you like sitting alone in the evenings, don't you? She turned and saw Obinna standing there, holding something behind his back. He wore his usual brown shirt, but his eyes looked brighter, and his smile seemed different, softer, warmer. Obinna startled me, she said with a small laugh. What are you doing here? I wanted to see you, he said simply, pulling out a small bouquet of white flowers from behind his back. These are for you. Amara's eyes widened as she took the flowers, their soft petals brushing against her fingers. For me? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. Yes, for you, Obinna said, sitting on a nearby rock. You are special, Chioma. You have been in this village for only a short time, but you have brought so much light with you. Amara looked down at the flowers, her heart pounding in her chest. I don't know what to say, she murmured. You don't have to say anything yet, Obinna said, leaning forward. I've been thinking about this for a while, Chioma. You are kind, hardworking, and you've got a heart that's so full of life. I don't care about your limp or your past. I care about who you are now. Amara's breath caught in her throat. She felt the words hanging in the air, and her heart raced. Obinna reached into his pocket and pulled out a small carved wooden ring. I don't have much, but I have my heart, my farm, and my dreams. Chioma, will you be my wife? Amara's eyes filled with tears. She wanted to say yes more than anything, but her secret loomed over her like a heavy cloud. How could she accept his proposal when he didn't know the truth? Obinna, she started, her voice trembling. What is it? He asked gently. his brow furrowed with concern. "I'm so grateful for everything," she said, clutching the flowers tightly. "You've shown me kindness I never thought I'd find. But there's something I need to tell you. Something important." Obinna tilted his head. "Whatever it is, you can tell me," he said. "I want to know everything about you." Amara felt the tears spilling over. She wanted to speak, but the words seemed stuck in her throat. I need some time," she finally managed. Obinna smiled softly and nodded. "Take all the time you need," he said. "I'll wait for your answer." As he stood up to leave, he placed the wedding ring gently on the stool beside her. "No matter what you decide, Chioma, you are special to me. Don't forget that." Amara watched him walk away, the weight of her secret pressing down on her. She picked up the ring and held it tightly in her hand. Looking up at the starry sky, she whispered to herself, "How can I say yes when I've been lying to him all along?" The night was quiet, but Amara's heart was anything but. She knew she couldn't keep the truth hidden any longer. If she wanted to accept Obinna's love, it had to be as her true self. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over Eziama, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Amara didn't sleep much the night before. She had spent the entire night staring at the wooden ring Obinna had given her. Turning it over in her hands, she knew what she had to do, but the thought of losing Obinna's trust scared her. After helping Mama Nana at the fruit store that morning, Amara made up her mind. She couldn't carry the weight of her lie anymore. She had to tell him the truth. "Chioma, are you alright?" Mama Nana asked as Amara cleaned the counter for the third time. "Yes, ma," Amara replied with a weak smile. "I just need some fresh air." Mama Nana nodded. "Don't stay out too long. The customers will soon be coming." Amara nodded and slipped away. She walked toward Obinna's farm, her heart pounding with every step. The farm was a beautiful place, with rows of cassava, yams and maize growing tall under the bright sun. She found Obinna kneeling in the soil, weeding around the plants. "Obinna," she called softly. He looked up, and when he saw her, a smile spread across his face. "Chioma," he said, standing up and wiping his hands on his trousers. "You are a sight for sore eyes. What brings you here?" Amara hesitated, her hand fidgeting with the edge of her wrapper. "I need to talk to you," she said. Obinna's smile faded and he took a step closer. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. "You look worried." Amara took a deep breath and looked into his eyes. "Obinna, there's something I've been hiding from you, from everyone in this village. I can't keep it a secret anymore." Obinna frowned, concern etched on his face. "You can tell me anything, Chioma," he said. "I promise I won't judge you." Amara's voice trembled as she spoke. "My name isn't really Chioma. My real name is Amara. I'm not from a poor family. I'm from a wealthy home in Amaku. I pretended to have a limp and came here because I wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not because of my beauty or my family's money." She looked down, ashamed. "I lied to everyone, including you. I'm so sorry." Obinna was silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he said, "So, you don't have a limp?" Amara shook her head and took a step forward, walking without the limp she had practiced for weeks. "This is the real me," she said softly. Obinna looked at her, his eyes filled with emotion. "Amara," he said, his voice steady, "I won't lie to you. I'm surprised, but the person I've come to know, the one I've been falling for, isn't the rich girl from Amaku. It's the kind hard-working Chioma who helped Mama Nana and planted a garden with me." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "Do you hate me for lying?" Obinna stepped closer and gently took her hand. "I don't hate you," he said. "I understand why you did it. You were looking for something real, and I think you found it." Amara's hands swelled with relief and gratitude. "You mean you still care about me?" Obinna smiled, his hand tightening around hers. "I care about you, Amara. Whether you are the girl with a limp or the rich girl from Amaku, we are still the same person who loves the little garden we planted." Amara couldn't hold back her tears anymore. "Thank you, Obinna," she said, her voice shaking. "I don't deserve your kindness." He shook his head. "You deserve all the kindness in the world. Well, there's one condition." Amara looked at him, confused. "What is it?" "No more lies," Obinna said firmly, though his smile softened the words. "If we are going to do something real, it has to be based on the truth." "I promise," Amara said, her voice steady now. "No more lies." As they stood there, hand in hand, with the sun shining down on them and the sound of the farm animals in the distance, Amara felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had finally told the truth, and Obinna had accepted her for who she was. For the first time in a long time, she felt free. The village of Eziama was never a quiet place when it came to gossip. By the next morning, the news about Amara's confession had somehow spread like harmattan dust. It started with a woman who came to Mama Nana's store for breakfast. They whispered behind their hands, pointing and glancing at Amara as she served them food. Did you hear? Chioma isn't having Nemo, one woman said, her voice low but full of excitement. I heard though. She's not even poor. Another replied, she's from this family in Amako. Mama Nana overheard the whispers and slammed a plate onto the counter. If you are here to eat, eat. If you are here to gossip, find somewhere else, she said sharply, her voice cutting through the chatter. The woman fell silent, but their eyes still darted toward Amara, who pretended to focus on her work. Inside her, heart was pounding. When the morning rush ended, Mama Nana put Amara aside. Chioma, no, Amara, she said, her tone softer now. Is it true? Are you really from Amako? Amara nodded, her eyes filling with tears. Yes, ma, she said. I'm so sorry for lying to you. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I wanted to live a simple life and find someone who loved me for who I really am. Mama Nana sighed, her face unreadable for a moment. Then she placed a hand on Amara's shoulder. Child, you've been nothing but good to me since you came here. Whatever your reasons, you are showing you are not just some spoiled rich girl. You are worked hard, and I've seen your heart. That's what matters to me. Amara wiped her eyes. Thank you, ma, she whispered. But not everyone was so understanding. By midday, as Amara walked to the market to buy tomatoes, she felt the stares and heard the whispers around her. Did you hear? Seafood everywhere, a young boy said loudly to his friend. She's a liar, a woman muttered, shaking her head. Amara kept her head down, clutching her basket tightly. The whispers felt like tiny needles pricking her skin. She wanted to run, to hide, but she reminded herself of Obinna's words. No more lies. When she reached the market store, she saw Obinna standing there, buying yam seeds. He spotted her immediately and waved. Amara, he called out, his smile as bright as ever. She hesitated, unsure if she should approach him. But when he walked over to her, she felt a wave of relief. Don't let them get to you, Obinna said, noticing the worry on her face. They're all talking about me, Amara said, her voice trembling. They think I'm a bad person. Obinna shook his head. They don't know you like I do, and if they're judging you, that's their problem, not yours. Amara smiled friendly. Thank you, Obinna. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're stronger than you think, Amara, he said. I remember, I'm here for you. As they walked back toward Mama Nana's store, the whispers continued, but with Obinna by her side, Amara felt a little braver. Later that evening, Mama Nana gathered Amara and Obinna around the small table in her kitchen. She poured them cups of zobo drink and said, Listen, child, this village may talk, but they will soon find something else to gossip about. What matters is how you carry yourself. Be honest, be kind, and the truth will shine brighter than any lie. Amara nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude for Nana's wisdom and Obinna's unwavering support. That night, as she lay on her mat, she whispered to herself, I will hold my head high. They can talk all they want to, but I know who I am. The stars outside twinkled brightly as if cheering her on. The air in Eziama was heavy with excitement. It was market day, and the villagers were out in full force, chatting, buying, and selling. Amara walked through the bustling market, her steps lighter than they had been in days. With Obinna Mama Nana's encouragement, she had decided to face the villagers with her head held high. As she passed by, some people still whispered, but others greeted her warmly. She was beginning to see that not everyone judged her harshly. Good morning, Amara, called Mr. Okonkwo, the teacher, with a smile. Good morning, sir, she replied, her heart lifting a little. Amara reached Mama Nana's store where Obinna was waiting for her. His cheerful grin made her forget all the whispers. You are just in time, Obinna said. I was about to start spreading the word. Spreading the word about what? Amara asked, confused. Obinna chuckled and took her hand. Follow me, he said. He led her to the center of the market where a small crowd had gathered. The villagers turned to look, curiosity written all over their faces. Amara felt her cheeks heat up. Obinna, what's going on? She whispered. You will see, he said with a wink. He cleared his throat and raised his voice. Fellow villagers of Eziama, I have something important to say. The chatter died down as everyone focused on him. This young woman standing beside me, Obinna began, is Amara, not Chioma. Yes, she came here with a secret, but she had proven herself to be one of the kindest, hardest working people I know. Amara's heart thumped in her chest. She wanted to pull her hand away, but Obinna held it firmly. She didn't come here to deceive us, Obinna continued. She came here looking for honesty and love. And today, I want to tell all of you that I have found the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Amara looked at him, her eyes wide with shock. Obinna, what are you doing? She whispered. Obinna turned to her, his eyes shining with determination. Amara, I don't care about your past or where you come from. What matters is the person you've shown yourself to be. You are strong, kind, and brave, and I love you for that. Tears welled up in Amara's eyes as Obinna knelt down on one knee, holding out the wooden he had given her before. Amara, he said, his voice steady, will you marry me? This time, as your true self. The crowd fell silent, waiting for her answer. Amara's hands trembled as she reached out and took the ring. Yes, she said, her voice breaking with emotion. Yes, Obinna, I'll marry you. The villagers erupted in cheers and applause, clapping and shouting words of encouragement. Even those who had whispered harshly about Amara earlier were now smiling and nodding. Omanana pushed through the crowd and hugged Amara tightly. You deserve happiness, my child, she said warmly. As Obinna slipped the wooden ring onto Amara's finger, she felt a wave of joy and relief wash over her. For the first time in her life, she felt truly seen and loved, not for her beauty or her wealth, but for who she was inside. The market buzzed with celebration, and someone even started singing a joyful tune. Amara and Obinna stood together, their hands clasped, ready to face whatever the future held together. And as the sun set over Isiamada evening, painting the sky with streaks of gold and orange, Amara knew she had finally found the true love she had always dreamt of.